My wife cheated while I was recovering from an accident. She showed no remorse, so I made her regret it. Hey guys. I, 40M, have been married to Christine, 39F, for about 10 years now, and we have one child, my lovely daughter, who's 9 years old. Like any marriage, we've had our ups and downs, a lot of downs, to be honest, but we've come through everything fine. There's been no infidelity, but there have been trust issues on both our parts. I will admit, however, that in the last 2 years or so, I've done my best as a husband, and I think I've maintained a good record. My wife and I have a good life in the bedroom. We're getting older, but things haven't dropped off too significantly from back when we met. I've always been very thankful for that, because I've been involved with women who might as well have been celibate, and it was frustrating to say the least. No amount of communication fixed anything. So a woman who actually wants to roll around in bed is a blessing to me. I owned a business before I met my wife, and when we got married, she eventually joined me at the helm to run things. About 2 weeks ago, I got into an accident on my way to work. I got T-boned at a red light, and woke up in the hospital with a broken femur and humerus. Yeah, needless to say, that wasn't fun. Once they confirmed there wasn't any internal damage, I was sent home after 2 days, with a cast on my arm and leg. Obviously, my movement was impaired quite a lot, but I was able to find my way around the house with a lot of stumbling and leaning on things. Of course, there were certain things I was unable to do, and Christine had to help me with them. For about the first week, she seemed fine with it. Every time I asked if it wasn't too much of a burden, she'd smile and say no. However, once I crossed over into the second week, I started to notice a change in her attitude. To be honest, when I said our life in the bedroom is good, I meant really good. We usually don't go a full week without anything happening. My first assumption was that maybe her mood change was because of that. Especially since I was starting to feel my body craving it again too. When I asked her again if I was being a burden, she still said no, but this time she was more short with me. Dismissive. I asked her straight up whether it was because of the lack of action between us. She said it wasn't, and left the room. Promptly. In that moment, I really felt like it was. But I also felt that, being married as long as we have, she'd be able to answer me truthfully with a question like that. My mouth and one of my hands still worked. I felt like we could have worked something out. Now here's the thing. Yesterday, she came home after managing the business on my behalf, and she was very clearly in a much better mood than she had been on all the other days. Like bubbly. Radiant even. I don't know if I'm being paranoid, but since I felt like her bad mood was related to our lack of intimacy, I couldn't stop overthinking whether she got someone else to take care of that side of things for her. I mean, she's never cheated on me. But does anyone ever really know for sure? Apart from that sudden shift in her mood, I wouldn't have any other evidence to suspect anything. But talking to her, there didn't seem to be any obvious reason for the joy either. So before I did anything rash, not like I could with the way I was physically, I posted here asking for advice. Should I dig? Or should I trust her and assume she was just happy for some other reason? I didn't want to jump to conclusions after knowing each other for so long, but something felt off. Update 3 weeks later. Hey everyone, it's been about 3 weeks since my last post, but I'm back with an update. A lot of you said I should go ahead and check her phone. Partners should be allowed to check each other's phones if they have nothing to hide. Well, I know she can check mine anytime, because I've never had anything to hide. So, I checked hers. And what I found confirmed everything I was afraid of, and worse. I eventually did check, and boy, did I find things. Anyway, I wasn't about to ask her to hand it over, because that would have given her the chance to delete any evidence. I had to gain access at a time when I could search through everything thoroughly and potentially save any proof I found. Just so you know, after that day when she came home all happy, she slowly went back into her usual moody self. Then, another day, she was all bubbly again. It was on the third time she came home in that same cheery mood that I got my chance. She was chewing gum, but I was sure I could smell a slight scent of booze on her. She also didn't kiss me when she got back home, but she was happy. I think it might have been whatever she drank, but it didn't take long for her to pass out. She left her phone right beside her in bed. I had never checked Christine's phone before. I was very anxious as I picked it up, scared she might wake up at any moment, and I'd have to start trying to explain myself. But honestly, the anxiety from not knowing whether she was cheating was a lot worse. So I pushed through. There were no photos or videos of her with anyone unusual. But when I went into her messaging app, I saw an unread message from Alex. Squinting at the profile picture, I realized it was the same Alex I knew, the Alex that works for me. Things were very formal, until about a day before the first bubbly mood. That's when Alex started flirting with her heavily, and she returned the energy. He must have gotten some kind of green light at work that day to come on strong, and it just made it clear how little I really knew. While I was at home recovering with broken bones, my wife was entertaining my employee. I also noticed that on each of the 3 occasions when she came back home cheerful, Alex always texted her asking if she had gotten home okay. He never did that on any other day. Between those days there was some flirtation here and there, not extreme, but it might as well have been. I took several pictures of the chat with my own phone and put hers back. This was about 2 days ago. And honestly, I don't know what to do. She didn't seem any different the next day, so I don't think she suspected I looked through her phone, probably because she was tipsy. But I do know one thing. I now have all the evidence I need to come to a very solid conclusion that my wife has cheated on me with my employee, at least 3 times. But how do I proceed in a way that actually makes sense? Do I just say, divorce, and figure everything out from there? The thing is, I feel so hurt. We haven't had a perfect marriage, sure. But it wasn't terrible either. We've built a life. A business. A family. Cheating had never been something I feared. But now, after I was in an accident and needed her most, that's when she decided to betray me. I've been struggling to act normal around her. But I really don't know if I can take it any longer. I need this to end. But I can't let it just end in divorce. I need more than that. I need to feel satisfied. Like I reclaimed something. Please. I've been trying to think of things I can do, but my mind is failing to put 2 thoughts together. I'll be waiting to hear what advice you all may have for me. Who needs crutches when you've got a keen eye for uncovering infidelity? All right, let's talk about your wife's little rendezvous with Mr. Employee of the Month. Looks like Alex has been taking more than just coffee breaks, huh? As for your dear wife, well, she's got some explaining to do, doesn't she? Cheating on you while you're laid up with broken bones? Talk about adding insult to injury. Now on to the fun part, revenge. Sure, you could go the traditional route with a messy divorce. But where's the fun in that? Why not get a little creative with your payback? So, get plotting. Get even. And most importantly, get back to living your best life without a cheating spouse dragging you down. After all, there's a whole world out there just waiting for you to conquer it, broken bones and all. Update. Wow, time flies. It's been a long time since my last update. But after posting it, I think I must have read through every single comment. Thank you to everyone for all the kind words and suggestions. They certainly contributed to my approach. The first thing I did was to find a divorce lawyer. I didn't pay a retainer at that time, I just wanted to know what I could about his services. At that point, I still stupidly felt like there could be an explanation for what I had read on her phone. So I decided to confront her before making anything final. By then, I could move around on my own a bit more. So I told her I wanted to follow her to work, to see how things were going and say hi to the employees. She weakly tried to convince me to stay home, saying she had everything under control. But by then, I knew. Nothing was going to stop me from going. I was in the passenger seat, and we were heading to our business location. Most of the guys were super happy to see me, Alex included, though he seemed a lot more awkward than the rest of them. My wife also didn't seem too thrilled that I was there. Towards the end of the workday, I called for Alex to come into my office, and I made sure to do it while my wife was nearby. I noticed her freeze up the moment she heard me, and surprisingly, she actually followed Alex into my office. That's not something she would normally do with any other employee. I didn't ask her to leave. Both of them seemed shifty, though maybe I was just imagining it. I only asked Alex something minor, about a client we'd been dealing with before my accident. I could actually see the fear disappear from his body once he realized it was just a routine question. When the day ended, I headed back home with my wife. She was slightly talkative, maybe because she assumed she hadn't been found out. I felt like I had more than enough suspicion at that point to confront her directly. So I decided that I would do it the next day, when she returned from work. Perhaps fortunately for me, the next day was one of those days where her mood was unusually upbeat. That triggered me. I assumed she had just been intimate with my employee, minutes before walking through the door. She probably felt bolder, thinking I didn't suspect a thing. That false confidence is what gave me the courage to finally confront her. Minutes after she walked in, I asked her to sit across from me. "Are you cheating on me with Alex?" She froze, but not for long. Then she said, "Yes." Right after that, she stood up and headed toward the kitchen. I told her to sit back down, that I wasn't done. But she went to the fridge to get a damn yogurt cup. Only then did she come back. Honestly, I could already tell, she wasn't remorseful. Not even a little. I asked her, "Why? Why did you think that was a good idea?" She started explaining how she has needs as a woman, and that I wasn't providing those needs for her. I pointed out the obvious, that I had been in a freaking accident, that I still had casts on, and her major concern was lack of sex? I told her that if she had told me how dire her needs were, we could have figured something out, at least until I was healed. But she just shook her head and said, "It wouldn't have been the same." In that moment, I was lost for words. I had expected tears. I had expected pleading. I had expected some shred of guilt. But instead, the woman in front of me was trying to justify her cheating. So I asked her directly, "Are you even sorry?" She looked me in the eye and said, "No." She repeated again that she had needs and I couldn't provide them, that it wasn't her fault. That she wouldn't deny herself pleasure just because I got myself T-boned by an SUV. Yeah. I hate to admit it, but I lost all the cool I had in that moment. I struggled to my feet and walked toward her, not to hit her, just to get in her space and look her in the eye. I didn't raise a fist or anything. But as I approached her, she stood up and shoved me hard. I lost my balance, and crashed into our wooden coffee table on the way down. I hit my shoulder. Thankfully, nothing was broken, as I later confirmed, but it hurt like hell. I lay on the floor in pain. Minutes later, I heard the front door close, then her car start up and drive away. Yeah. My wife, soon-to-be ex, knocked me over, didn't check if I was okay, and left. I literally had 2 casts on. It was a few minutes before I could struggle onto the couch. My shoulder was throbbing. The first thing I did was call the police, because in that moment, I had lost all respect and all love for her. I was seeing red. Apparently, the noise of our argument had woken up my daughter. She was hiding near the top of the stairs. When she saw me get pushed, she started crying. Seeing her like that broke my heart. She kept asking what had happened between me and her mom, but I didn't know what to say. Eventually, the police arrived. They took a report from me and arranged transportation to the hospital. I went with my daughter. Thankfully, the X-rays showed no lasting damage to my shoulder, considering I was already on the road to recovery. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Sometimes it's not the cheating itself that breaks you. It's the lack of remorse. The gaslighting. The callousness. The violence. The way someone you built a life with can look you in the eye and act like you deserved it. I'm not just filing for divorce anymore. I'm reclaiming myself. I'd have been pissed if I broke something else. As soon as I got back home that night, I put my daughter to bed and sent a message to the divorce lawyer telling him I was ready to go ahead with things. Christine hasn't come back home in the 3 days since that happened, and I haven't even contacted her. My daughter keeps asking where her mom is, and I've had to make up a stupid excuse, said she went to visit her sister. At this point, it's actually war. And I think I have everything I need to make things collapse for Christine. She wasn't sorry for cheating on me. But my goal is to make her sorry. Wow. I mean, yeah, everyone has needs. But here's the thing, bones heal. That's just what they do. And like I said, there were other ways to make things work out. I guess my wife skipped the in sickness and in health part of the vows and went straight to the in bed with the office assistant option. From filing police reports to prepping the divorce, I was like a one-man vengeance machine. And with my daughter by my side, I had all the motivation I needed to turn this circus into a spectacle. Final update, and oh, it's a good one. As I'm writing this, which should be the final update of my story, I'm doing so with a big smile on my face. I know it's been months since my last post, but if you're a big fan of the sensation we call Schadenfreude, you're going to enjoy this. I know I did. Step 1. I sent text messages to every single one of Christine's relatives that I knew. Her parents. Her cousins, even the one I'd only met twice. Even her friends, if I had their numbers. Because I was pissed. I didn't write a single thing that wasn't true. I included the screenshots I'd taken of the flirting between her and Alex. Some of them responded. Some didn't. The ones who did were mostly sympathetic. The ones who didn't? I assumed they were on her side. Didn't matter. My job was done. Whether they sided with her or not, her sleazy behavior was now well documented. Step 2. I went into work and saw Christine there. She was shocked to see me, probably thinking I was too emotionally crushed to do anything. It took less than 10 seconds for me to point at her and Alex, the employee she cheated with, and say, "You're both fired." Christine used to be my wife, but she was also an employee, and her name was nowhere on the business paperwork. Thankfully, I never brought her in that deep. Alex was stunned, but didn't argue. He knew he was guilty. He'd worked for me for 3 years, and now he's going to have a fun time trying to use me as a reference. Meanwhile, Christine looked furious. She stormed over, and honestly, I was a little scared she'd hit me again, which would have worked nicely in my favor. But when she got close enough, I sprung the divorce papers on her. Her face turned red, because our employees were right there. She snatched the papers from me and marched out of the place. The rest of that day was awkward. Later, I had to deal with a bunch of texts and cursing from her once she realized how many people I'd told about her cheating. But wait, my story doesn't end there. It still gets better. Remember the assault? I had a police report. I had a hospital report. I went to the police station at the close of business and told them I wanted to press charges. To skip through the legal logistics. My divorce lawyer helped me structure the case beautifully. As a bonus, the timeline worked perfectly. This all came after I had confronted her about the cheating. She was unremorseful, I was injured, and worst of all, our daughter witnessed it. Christine got a week in jail and mandatory anger management classes. I hate that my little girl had to be involved, but for me, it was worth it. That criminal record gladdened my heart. Then came the actual divorce proceedings. These lasted a while, mostly because Christine was being extremely stubborn throughout the process. But ultimately it was a breeze. There was just too much documented proof of bad behavior on her part. Cheating. Assault. Negligence. Emotional harm to our child. The works. Today, I have sole custody of my daughter. I kept the house. I kept the business. I kept my dignity. Christine? She lost her marriage, her job, her reputation, and got herself a nice criminal record to go with it. She always said I was too calm and quiet. Guess she never saw the storm coming. If you've been cheated on, lied to, or hurt like this, just know. You don't have to get mad. You can get methodical. And you can absolutely get even. This isn't just closure. This is justice. I mean, she assaulted me, which she didn't deny. She cheated on me, which she also didn't deny. And she was very clearly unremorseful about either of those things. My daughter had to see her father get assaulted, and that's what broke me. Now, I did mess up a little. I fired Christine before finalizing the divorce, which meant I had to pay her a manageable amount of alimony. But only for 5 years. She's not a part of the business I built from the ground up. I have full custody of my daughter, because Christine's inability to control her temper, and the fact she brought strange men around our daughter, made it an easy decision for the court. I kept the house. Because why uproot my little girl? I exposed my wife's behavior to all her friends and family. And I handed her a shiny criminal record to go along with her moral collapse. Honestly, I didn't set out to do all this. But she made it so easy. She just turned out to be naturally horrible. I wish I had seen it sooner. But it is what it is. I'm just glad this story is over, and that my daughter is safe with me. Life goes on. I'll rebuild eventually. But for now, I'm happy with how things went. And I hope you all are too. Edit. Oh, and by the way, Alex apparently had the balls to put my name down as a reference. So I made sure to professionally outline every one of his shortcomings as an employee, including the fact that he may attempt to be inappropriate with the partners of high-ranking colleagues. It was delightful to hear. Oh wow, thank you for letting us know that. From the person on the other end of the line. I guess no evil goes unpaid. Community response. First off, kudos to you for taking the phrase, "Hell hath no fury like a man scorned," to a whole new level. From texting the entire family tree, to handing out pink slips like Halloween candy, you've truly mastered the art of sweet, sweet revenge. And let's not forget the piece de resistance. Pressing charges like a boss, with a police report, a hospital record, and a whole lot of righteous anger. You turn that assault into a one-way ticket to jail for your soon-to-be ex. Talk about turning the tables. But the real cherry on top? That 5-year alimony clock. You'll be watching it tick down while living in your house with your daughter, while Christine gets to pay, day by day, with regret. And as for Mr. Employee of the Month? Well, let's just say he's about to learn that karma is a real witch. Putting your name down as a reference? The audacity. But hey, at least you got to outline his red flags in bullet point format and watch him squirm like a worm on a hook. What are your thoughts? Would you have done anything differently? Would you have stopped at divorce, or gone full nuclear? Thanks for joining us today. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next revenge story. See you next time.